Welcome to the Inspiration Station hosted by Joshua Lenox, the place to fill up your tank if you're in need of encouragement and motivation.
Hey, y'all already know it is Friday, it's 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and this is the Inspiration Station here with Joshua Lenox, where we do what, y'all? We upsize in 2025 all day, every day. I just hope that everyone has had an amazing week so far, and also they have had an amazing day on this Friday, y'all. And I know I say it all the time, but y'all, I'm going to say it again, but it just seems like time is moving really quick. It seems like the days are going by extremely fast. And I think that's why it's so important for us to make sure that we're embracing our day. We're making the most of our day, making the most of our time, making the most of loving one another, making the most of doing all that we can with what we have, y'all. Um, Making sure you're settled within each and every day of knowing that you've given it your all and whatever that is. So, y'all come on in here on this good old Friday. I hope that, again, everybody is doing well. Let me know when you coming in, as I can see you coming in on the chat, and let me know and say happy Friday or something. Let me know how you're doing, how your day has been, how the week has been going. Anything coming up for some of you all? Y'all, we're going to be celebrating Mother's Day on this Sunday. So before I move any forward, just want to say happy Mother's Day to each and every mother out there. And again, I think that also with these holidays, we want to make sure that they are reminders. They're a day to just remind us of what we should be doing all the time. And with the rest of the 364 days we have, 365 if it's a leap year. But also, I want to say that, again, want to welcome all the new people that are watching on tonight and who'll be watching later on. Or again, y'all know we're on the platforms of LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, Facebook Live, and also on later on Spotify, Amazon, and Audible. I know y'all, we coming Apple. It just I got to do some quick logistics things, and it will be on there as well. As we're getting started, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in tonight, y'all. Y'all know I love to get outside while the sun is still out for the time that it is. So, want to again welcome everyone. If it's your first time, let me know if I can see that, or even you just say it out loud to yourself. Where y'all, it's your first time. I'm glad that you're here. If you're a person who continues to return, I'm glad to see you. And also, I want to say thank y'all. Y'all are really sharing this stuff out here. I see it on more platforms than others, and that's great. It's amazing. I thank you all for spreading and sharing and watching and seeing. I hope that you continuing to be impacted and influenced and inspired as the inspiration station as you are tuning in. So again, what is the inspiration station? We're going to go ahead and get into it. But inspiration station is literally a nickname, as I like to keep saying, but it's a nickname that someone gave me in 2012. And I just kind of ran. Didn't they told me they felt like I was the inspiration station because I was like a radio station that would give out certain frequencies that they felt everybody needed to hear, and I knew what they needed to hear at that time. So fast forward now being 2025, here we are utilizing this on this platform and on the other platforms, y'all. And again, the inspiration station is just not just a nickname for me, and it's not just about me at all. The inspiration station is you. You are absolutely an inspiration not only to others in your lives and people probably you never even meet, but you're also a great inspiration to yourself. I guarantee you, and I keep saying it, but if you reflect back over your life, there's several different truths and facts to show you that you are absolutely an inspiration to yourself. But you know what? I'm finding out that sometimes you may forget that and you might need that reminder. So, just again, you are an inspiration to yourself way before you're an inspiration to others if you choose to see yourself first. Again, what to expect on the Inspiration Station. This is a place where we're allowing ourselves to be seen by one another and also being open, honest, and vulnerable with ourselves as well as others. There will also be guests on here. Y'all, we have a special guest coming up next Friday, so you want to tune in for that. I'm not going to drop who that is yet because I want you to meet her. And again, you're going to really have a good time. I'm going to have a great time talking with her, interviewing with her, and you guys kind of getting to know a little bit about who she is. So looking forward to that. Be the first guest, y'all. So This is where we also learn about how our lives impact one another. Your life story is so important and vital, and people need to hear about it. Doesn't mean they need to know all your business now, but there are a lot of things about your life that can impact, influence, and bring change to so many people. And this is why we're here to inspire one another, not only by what we hear and what we talk about in here, but inspire us to make movement, to make action, and take action. So another thing I want to acknowledge before going into today's subject matter, or title, whatever you want to call it, but this we want to make sure we honor the Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May. So everyone, let's give it up for everyone in the mental health field, including myself. No, it's definitely a privilege and an honor to be privy to so many people's lives and them trusting me with their deepest, darkest things, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I know them in a way that nobody else knows in their life. So it's like I'm being trusted with secrets, and anyone in the mental health field, I'm almost certain that they feel the same way, and it's something to take not take lightly at all, that we are able to serve people in a way of watching them transform right before our eyes, and just by coming to a therapist, social worker, and I mean I can continue to go down the list of things, but I want to also continue to encourage, if you are a person who has a counselor, I hope that you are a mental health counselor, that I hope that you are noticing and knowing the benefit in that. And if you don't, maybe sometimes you have those questions or whatnot. I would encourage you to do some research, look around some things, or even consult people that are close by, or even maybe even go to a couple of websites and just to see what that looks like, and what counseling could be for you. Also, want to throw out there, Psychology Today is a wonderful and great resource out there online that is allowing you to be able to curtail everything in so many details, down to the nitty gritty of a counselor that you would want to see. So I would just encourage anyone out there, because even a therapist needs a therapist. Hello, the one you're talking to, I have a counselor. Okay. So I just want to continue to advocate for the Mental Health Awareness Month, because again, the guest that I'll be bringing on is another fellow mental health counselor, and we definitely want to share some things about the mental health field, and just also dig a little into her life, so we can get some inspiration and nuggets from her. So without further ado, we're going to move on to tonight's title. I'm excited about this, y'all. I hope that you are as well. We're going to move on and move quickly. Well, I always say that, y'all, but end up kind of unpacking some other things, and that's fine, because that's important to make sure we get everything and anything we can out of these moments that we share together. So tonight's title is The Residue That Resides. The residue that resides. Y'all remember that thing was saying, we going where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside. Well, tonight we're talking about the residue for a moment, the residue that resides. What is residue? What is residue? Residue is defined as something that is left after the main part is no longer present. Something that is left after the main part that is no longer present. And if we want to look at this, and I wanted to kind of go in another direction also with this, just as another piece of this, a second definition of this when it relates to chemistry. Which of course is a science, a major science. Chemistry definition of this is material remaining after a process of preparation, separation, or purification. I'll say that again. With the chemistry definition of residue, it's the material remaining after a process of preparation, separation, or purification. Uh, so I want you to dive really quick of thinking about, first, think about a stain on a shirt. You have a stain on a shirt, especially, oh my goodness, let it not be something that's red. You get something red on a white shirt or anything of that nature. And I remember growing up as a kid, I remember OxyClean. How many of y'all remember OxyClean? Don't make me seem like I'm the only person that's a little throwback, but OxyClean. Or you have, I don't know the other, and I can't think of any names right now, but like, look, stain be gone. We're going to make up some stain be gone. But think about when you're trying to get a stain out of a shirt, you might think you might be okay to just throw it in the washer really quick. Let me go ahead and get it while it's, fresh or whatnot. And then you might, after you washed it, you see the stain is still there. And you're like, what in the world? Like, I just washed it. Why is, it only sat on there for, a few minutes, but it may be a deep stain. Also, think about if you have a stain that you know is going to require a little bit more care. So you have to get the stain be gone or the OxyClean or the other stuff. Y'all name it out. You can name it in the comments if you want to, but you might have to put something on it and let it sit for a while. Let it sit for a while. Might be an hour, might be 2 hours, just to make sure that when you put this in the washing machine this time, it's completely gone. So again, that's a process sometimes that we all go through, trying to get that one little stain or that residue that just seem like it just won't go away. We have to maybe have a little extra time, and maybe something that has to sit we have to sit with a little longer before it's completely gone. So what are some examples of residue? I mean, please feel free to put some things in the comments as I'm talking, but examples of residue could be past relationships. It could be actually people who still remain in your life, maybe hurtful memories, negative thought patterns, past failures. And let me be clear, when we talk about failures, we all make, we all fail. But just because we fail does not make us a failure. And also, you may have certain failures in your life, but again, you're not the failure. Just want to point that out really quick. Sometimes we say, "Well, it's a failure. What I'm a failure." No, you're never been a failure, but you may fail. Yes, Christine Bailey, absolutely trauma. Definitely residue. Kind of going into what you just mentioned, when we talk about abuse of any kind, whether that be physical, mental, emotional, so verbal, colliding with someone. And again, reside just means that it's remaining. And let me also say that also grief or loss of any kind. And y'all, it took for me to become a therapist to recognize that grief was not just about a physical death, but it was, loss of any kind. That could be the losing of your childhood home or having to move away from where you've always been, ending of a friendship, ending of a relationship, ending of a job or a career. And I mean, the list goes on. So again, examples of residue could be things that we've been affected by or that we've been impacted by. And it doesn't always have to be an event. It could be a noun of any kind, noun of any kind, a person, place, thing, or an idea that just sticks around a little while with us. So I want you kind of to think right now, what might be some things in your life that is still residue and it still resides in you? And be very clear, just because it's residue, think about what the definition of that was. Something that is left after the main part is no longer present. So, a great amount of what this was that you may have dealt with or encountered in your life is pretty much gone, but it's just a little piece, little residue that's still left within you. So again, this could also be a way we want to look at it another way. There's something left that I worked so hard to get completely gone, but majority of it is gone. So can I at least give myself some credit to know that it's not it doesn't take up as much capacity as it used to in my life? Say, for example, that if you were someone who was, maybe you had a mother who was absent. You might have been raised by your father or something of that nature, and you have a mother that was absent. So it's like you always felt like you had nobody to really compare yourself to. Your father did the best he could with things, but maybe you weren't as feminine because no one ever taught you. So you got, called certain names, a tomboy or anything of that nature. You might have been a person who really didn't know how to be in touch with her body or anything of that nature, because you had no influence. And it might be something within that young lady that turns out to be a woman, where they have that void of feeling like they never had that example of how to develop into a woman. But then as they get older, they start to, maybe get around certain people or certain people of influence that are women that take them under their wing, or, come pull them alongside them and try to, help mold them in a way. And while they're continuing to grow, they're feeling better about themselves, they're feeling better about their femininity, who they are in their womanhood. But there might, as they're doing this and healing from things, and whether healing came through therapy, healing came through prayer, healing came through the word of God, and I mean, several other avenues, there's just that little piece that's still there with them, that's that residue that remains of them knowing that their mother was not there. But at the same time, again, it's just a smaller capacity. It's taking up a smaller capacity than it did before. Um, Also, quick question, y'all. Can residue be good or positive or healthy in a way? Hmm? Is all residue negative? Is all residue something that is a bad memory or something that triggers you? Uh, or can it be good? Something to ponder on for a second. Well, I don't have time for you all to respond so quickly because I'm going to respond. Okay, I see that, Kristen. You said patience is something you work on daily. So, quick question is I'm going to keep moving, but Kristen, when you say patience, how is that in a sense residue for you? As I keep going, you commented whenever you're ready. But when we think about residue being good or positive, maybe it's past accomplishments, maybe it's past success, maybe it's you reminiscing on how things used to be like so good. Mary J. Blige, you say, reminisce on the love we had. So are we reminiscing over things? Are we trying to relive things that the way things used to be? Is that residue that we're holding on as well? Because again, that can cause you to be stuck and you don't move forward to greater things or avail yourself for greater things to come in because you're still holding on. Well, things used to be so good back in 1996. And oh, I just remember when my life was this and that. I was that person. I had all of my money was great. My relationships were great. And I just can't move past that, even now we're in 2025. Or maybe it was a part of your childhood that you still try to think about constantly or go over with, and it just got that residue that's still there, and it's like, well, why can't I move past when I was that guy or I was that girl back in college, or when I had a career that just made me feel so fulfilled, but that career is over with, but I also go back, I'm stuck in that. It might not be as major again as it used to be, but it's still sitting with me. It's still resting with me. Christine, you said I have more patience with some people more than others, especially those who are so negative. So, what again? It sounds like I'm sure I have more patience with some people more than others, but I'm pretty sure you've seen where your patience has grown greater than where it was. So again, it's like that whole, you remember where that patience was probably very minimal. So again, the residue of that is that I'm still working on this patience, and maybe again, uh, people who are negative, that's also a boundary for me, that maybe I can't be around certain people like that because that does cause that pace. So then it's like, how do I dig into that place, or which I'm going to get to in just a minute, but how do I dig into that place of where I'm able to continue to rid myself of this residue that remains? So again, y'all, when we even talk about good things, great things for ourselves that we might be stuck in that are in the past, we don't want to, because we don't want to be in a place where we're replaying and reliving what has retired. We don't want to be in a place where we're replaying and reliving what has retired. That stuff is long gone. Why am I continuing to replay that movie in my life? Why am I continuing to relive that? It's over and done with. Why am I still holding on to that? What is that continuing to hold grips of me for? Why can't I move past this? It's okay for me to acknowledge the things that I did in the past, but it's blocking me from seeing the future and allowing greater things to come in. Um, Something I don't know why I'm saying this, but a point I want to say really quick is something may have become your reality only because it was consistently reinforced, even if it was irrational or untrue. Something may have become your reality only because it was consistently reinforced, although it was irrational and untrue. I think something that ties into what we talk about residue is that when we talked about irrational beliefs, good students, right? Y'all remember some episodes back, we talked about irrational beliefs and how to challenge them with the ABC model, which is REBT therapy, rational emotive behavioral therapy. When we sometimes have these irrational beliefs in your life, so say for instance, if somebody told you that you weren't good enough or that you were unlovable, well, that was probably very untrue. Most likely, 100%, it was untrue. But it's something you kept hearing. It's something people kept showing you. It's the way people treated you, the way they talked about you. It's the way that you saw how they demonstrated their care or lack of care when you came around. So you have these irrational beliefs that you still have, again, residue from, because this was actually made reality to me because it was reinforced over and over again. And it's not true, but it became my reality. So just because something is irrational about you in your life that you took on the responsibility of believing because of what somebody placed on you, or maybe something that you believed again because of how somebody treated you, it became your reality, even though it was irrational. So again, I think if you guys remember the UGLY story when I talked about fourth grade, them chanting that I was ugly, I believed it. And guess what? Because it was reinforced. They kept saying it over and over again for days. So it was something consistent. And then it was something the way I was treated, even as I got older. So it made me feel like, okay, that must have been true. But it was not it was my reality, but it was not true. Only because it was consistently reinforced. So then that could be a place of residue where we hold irrational beliefs or thoughts about ourselves. And we wonder why, again, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, maybe, but it's still something that's sitting there because it's like, I'm still believing this thing about myself. And maybe because it became my reality, I continue to say it to myself, or I continue to treat myself a certain way. Want to use as an example, how many of y'all love leftovers? And no judgment in here. Nobody's gonna be calling you any names or saying anything about you. They'll have to come through me. But how many of y'all love leftovers? I know for me, I've come to in my time in my life where I still love to cook, but I don't really like to see leftovers for too long because it's like, okay, yeah, I want to throw that out. I want to throw it away, get rid of it. But sometimes though, just as a hack, sometimes it's good to let this stuff sit for like a couple of days, or after a couple of days, it has a conversation, if you will, overnight. So them leftovers can be hidden even better the more time it sits. But think about with leftovers, when we talk about residue and things remaining, what if you were leaving small amounts of what you ate on a plate, but you continue to warm up the plate, but you keep adding new food to it each time? And then also you're adding a small amount, like I said, at each time, but eventually, so now your plate is full of stuff. Just walk with me here. If I leave some greens and some mashed potatoes on a plate from a prior meal that I had on this specific plate, but maybe I wrap the plate up and I put it in the refrigerator. And then the next time I cook something, I'm going to pull that out and then I'm going to warm it up. And then I'm going to put other new food on there and then I'm going to eat it. And then eventually I'm going to leave what I just ate. I'm going to leave pieces of that from it, remnants from that on the plate as well. So as I keep warming up and preparing new food, I always leave a remainder of what I just had on that same plate. What's going to happen after I'm getting a plate full of leftovers from days and weeks that have just started to pile up, and it's from a different meal each time? Well, eventually this stuff is going to get old, it's going to spoil, and it's going to no longer be edible. And now I've got to throw it out. So I want you to think about residue in your life, whatever those things may be that are remaining. Think about how there are pieces and remnants from things in your life that have started to pile up or fill your quote unquote plate. And it's getting old and it's starting to spoil. And it's no longer, we're not going to say, well, when I say edible, it's something that's no longer healthy for you. And now it's time to throw it out. Now I got to get rid of this. And as you're thinking about this, think about how you have already rid yourself of so many things. I laugh because I know in the church growing up, they say, things I used to do, I don't do no more, whatever things I used to say, I don't say no more. Places I used to go, I don't, there are certain things in your life that are no longer they're no longer there, or it's minimal. It's gotten smaller. So, and then there's just some things you have thrown away. And there might be some things now to think about that you've gotten down and it continues to get smaller and smaller that you've got to get rid of. It's time for a detox. It's time for a enema, if you will. It's time to clear yourself out of some things, because this is something that can no longer remain or reside because of where you're going and also who you're becoming. And as you're continuing to evolve and become who you are and who you were ordained to be and you've been predestined to become, some things just no longer can stay connected to you. So I want to give really quick, y'all, we're doing really good on time. I hope that y'all are enjoying this. I want to give the quick 6 A's The 6 A's, really quick, when we talk about wanting to rid ourselves of residue, things that are just sticking around. And y'all, this stuff doesn't have to be things that happen from the past. It could be things that you're dealing with every day, things you're faced with every day. And again, what if some of the residue are people who are in your circle or people who are in your life that you know you need to get rid of, or you need to, we got to part ways. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent from one another. Amen. Go in peace and don't return. But first, I want you to think about the first one is acknowledge it. Can I acknowledge? When I acknowledge something, it's like acknowledging someone's presence. I give acknowledgement to it. I see it for what it is. I see it for what it is, and or who it is, or where it is, or So if I first acknowledge whatever this residue is, let me start there. But then I want to move to the next A, which is accept it. Can I accept what this really is and how it got into my life, how it entered in my life, how it's affected my life? Can I accept it? I don't need to be in denial. I don't need to try to lie to myself, or cover it up in a way to make it or minimize it. But look, can I accept it for what it is? So then I can move to the next A, which is address it. So now that I want to address something, it's time for me to confront the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how. What affected me? How did it affect me? When did it affect me? Why did it affect me? Y'all help me. It's one I missed. Let's see. Who affected me? What affected me? When did it affect me? When did it affect me? And how did it affect me? I think, and why did it affect me? Y'all forgive me if I stumbled on that, but just we're gonna keep it moving. But this is where if I'm gonna address it, I want to confront the who, what, when, and how, and why to this residue that I have in my life. Also, the next A is I want to assess it. And for order for me to assess it, now I've got to do some evaluation. Now I've got to get down to the nitty gritty. Now I need to get to the details of what this is and how it's affected or infected my life. And because when I get down to these details and break things down, and I want you to also correlate some of these A's. This is what you would, in a sense, do if you were in therapy with your therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So once I assess it, this is where I'm breaking things down to the very finite detail. But then I want to learn how to reframe this situation so that it works for me. Because nothing that we ever deal with or nothing that we go through is wasted. It's got to teach us something, y'all. Like I always say, we don't take the only L's we take are lessons. So if I can assess this, I know how, I can assess it, get down to the very details of things. Now I want to reframe this. And also, I want to make sure in this process, I'm not adding or subtracting anything. I just want to know this is without adding or subtracting, looking at what things really are without me constructing my own things or whatnot, or creating a narrative that's not true. Without adding or subtracting anything, what are all of these details? What are these things? How did I even get to this position? And after I reframe this, to be able to say, how do I move forward, use this as something healthy or positive to move me forward to the better that I'm after, then I administer it. Think about when you get a shot, or you get a nurse administers pills, whatever she's giving you or that he or she is giving you, this is something to bring about some level of healing or change or assistance in something, and you becoming better. So I'm now, because of this, what I reframe by assessing and evaluating things and reframing it for my benefit. Now I've got to administer this and apply this to myself, apply this to my thinking, apply this to what I see, apply this to what I say, apply this to what I hear, in moving forward. Because of that, now that I'm going to wear this, in a sense, administer it and apply it to my life, now I've got to activate it and walk it out. Now I'm holding myself responsible to walk this thing out. So now that I have a new mindset and a new frame of mind, now I can walk this out differently and look back over. Again, the A's are acknowledge it, accept it, address it, assess it, administer it, then activate it. And with activation, that means now that might be challenging, because I'm trying to walk something out that I never have before, because now I'm in some level of recovery from the things that I'm trying to rid of myself. And also, again, like I always say, give yourself space for grace. The residue might not automatically go completely away, but it gets lesser. It lessens each time. And you might have to do this process multiple times. It could be wash, rinse, and repeat multiple times. Acknowledge it, accept it, address it, assess it, administer it, then activate it. Y'all, we're at the end, but I want to say this to you. I hope that this has been very helpful and that you've been empowered and impacted to start this process of thinking about, or just start to think about, what are some things that I still have holding on to me, or what are things I'm holding on to that can no longer take residence within me. It can no longer reside here. What are some things that I know I need to shed? Things that have been prohibiting me or stopping my forward progress. What are some things that I need to take inventory of so that I can live even the more best of my life? So one thing I want you to say, and I almost sound like Tina Turner. One thing I want you to say is, but if everybody could just repeat to yourself, residue, I am through with you. And you have my permission to with you. We're not saying with you. Okay, with you. Kind of got to go a little harder with that, but residue, I am through with you. One last nugget I want you all to remember, and I want you to also just want to say too, I hope that each and every one of you have an amazing remainder of this Friday, of this evening. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time next week in the same place. I'll be here, and you better be here too. Please make sure that you share this with as many people as you can. Spread it to whomever, every family member you have, every friend you have, to your church, to your job. That person you don't like, they need this on their job. Send it to the state government. I don't care. Send this to as many people as you can, because again, we all are, especially when the world that we live at this very moment, I think we all need to be uplifted. We all need to be motivated. We all need to be encouraged, but also doing that for one another. And again, unite as much as you can through love, y'all. That's the least that we can do, is unite with each other through love. Reach out. Look, the song said, reach out and touch. Well, don't touch nobody's hand, but see, we can do it digitally. You can send this video. That's how you can reach out and touch somebody. So let's all do that. And last thing I want to say to each and every one of you is, embrace who you are becoming. Embrace who you are becoming. Because who you've been, embrace who you're becoming and who you've always been that didn't know that you could be on display. Embrace who you are becoming and who you've been that you didn't know could be on display. I'll say it again now that I got it together, y'all. Embrace who you are becoming and who you have been that you didn't know you could display. So without further ado, as I always say, you've always been great. You're just getting better. Make sure you affirm yourself with that I've always been great. I'm just getting better. And you ain't seen nothing yet from yourself. If you believe that, make sure you believe it. Even when you don't believe it right away, keep saying it until you do. So I hope y'all have a great evening. Talk to y'all soon. Stay safe. Love one another. And again, that's how we unite the best way we can. And share this. I want to say it again, y'all, because I really stumbled. That really got me for a second. But it's okay. We'll keep moving. But embrace who you're becoming and who you've always been that you didn't know that you could put on display. Y'all have a good one. I will see y'all next week. Love, peace, and hair grease. Bye.
Thanks for watching The Inspiration Station with Joshua Lenox. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.